Han ido a por Philip.
Look at all these people. Seems like they're enjoying themselves.
They never change. You drooling dogs should be ashamed!
Shut up, you old hag! Ellen?
I'm not feeling well.
I'll take care of you. You two go ahead. Hurry up!
Is your mother ill?
It's not that. This is where they hanged my father.
De hecho, cuando he puesto fin, pensaba que terminaba.
The trial begins. The judges. Brother of Stephen, King of the English. The Right Reverend Bishop Henry of Winchester. Her Highness, the Countess Lady Aliena of Shiring. Presiding over the trial, the Right Reverend Bishop of Shiring and Kingsbridge, Waileron Bygod.
Please. The church is not without fault. We have gathered here today before the eyes of God to accuse one of our own. He wrote in his book that the church and the papacy are not necessary as intercessors between God and man. That God is in man, that all men are equal, and that each sinner is as close to our Lord as the Pope himself. Now, we ask God for his judgment. For his is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Not ours, and not yours. You stand accused of heresy. Philip of Gwynedd, how do you plead? Answer!
I am not guilty.
Your teachings speak another language. Guilty, I say.
I am deeply saddened. It may come as a surprise to you, but we had hoped to make you Bishop of Kingsbridge. Why has it come to this, Philip?
In part, I am to blame. I supported Philip in his early years. I demand that Philip be removed from his position of prior immediately.
No.
And that he remain in captivity until such time that Shiring and all of England have healed from the poisonous words he has dispersed.
No!
What? Yes?
In what way exactly are Philip's teachings heretical?
Philip of Gwynedd has said that each of us is in part of a godly nature, for God has made us in his image. Therefore, he claims that none of us, not he, not the bishops, not even the Pope, is closer to God than any other man or woman.
Heresy! Christ made his apostle Peter his first pope. He and us, his church, hold the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
Yes!
The Bible also tells us, let a man be known by his actions. Philip made Kingsbridge into a prosperous place for its people and for the church you claim he disrespects.
That is true, Lady Aliena.
Yes. Let a man be known by his actions. Call in Remigius.
the Prior of Shiring, Father Remigius.
My bishop.
Tell the court, Remigius, what you have told me.
For many years, I served as sub-prior of Kingsbridge. First for Prior James, then for the accused.
What was your first impression of him?
I was offended by his bluntness and accusations during the chapter discussions.
What else?
Prior Philip did not hesitate to give refuge to the people fleeing Earl's Castle in the winter that our king died.
Is that not a good deed? A true Christian act?
You do not know him as well as you think you do, Lady Aliena. Today, that will change.
The future master builder of our cathedral and his woman were among those taking refuge. They were living in sin. They were unmarried and fornicating. Philip allowed them to stay.
Why would he do that?
I do not know, my bishop.
Maybe because he himself was involved in similar affairs. We will see.
Then, on the day of our first fleece fair, we were attacked.
I heard. It was terrible.
I tried to soothe the woman's pain by reading the scripture to her. The builder's woman I have spoken of tried to put a spell on her with poisonous herbs.
Qué fuerte.
And Philip intervened.
Yes. He pushed me aside and gave the woman poison.
Veneno, dice.
It is worse than I thought.
It was no poison.
And then there was the day the Virgin Mary's statue arrived in Kingsbridge. I did not believe it was a miracle.
Clearly, it is a miracle. I hear of many who were healed in Kingsbridge.
Well, I soon realized it was a true miracle, but Philip did not. He was only after the money people donated at the Virgin's Shrine. That is why I left.
Él sabía que era mentira, también.
I believe there is one more thing you have not told us about. Something very important.
Yes. Philip has fathered a child.
What the fuck?
A son.
Un hijo.
And he raised him in the priory.
He is guilty.
Jonathan of Kingsbridge, step forward.
Espérate. La que va a liar este.
This is preposterous.
Esto es absurdo.
Is it?
Sí.
Is this true? Are you Philip's son? Answer the question, Jonathan of Kingsbridge.
Philip has always been like a father to me. But he is not my father.
Eso es. No es mi
How
padre.
do you know that?
He told me.
And how do you know he spoke the truth?
Speak. Answer the bishop.
Philip would never lie. He told me that I was found in the woods.
In the woods? Is this true, Philip? Or are you lying? Well, you told the story so many times.
My brother found him.
Your brother? Had he not been working for Earl Robert of Gloucester? You have not seen him in a long time now, have you? Let us ask your brother if your stories are true.
Ostras. ¿Ah? Preguntemos a vuestro hermano si eso es cierto. No puede ser. Madre mía, su hermano.
Francis, what happened to you?
This is not your fault. He does this to hurt you.
By God.
Francis of Gwyneth. He was arrested more than 15 years ago.
Madre mía, pobre hombre.
He was arrested for conspiring against his own master, Earl Robert.
Remove the prisoner.
Al final no lo ha preguntado.
Philip told me himself, and I told Earl Robert.
Buah, chaval.
For God and the Church cannot take sides in these conflicts. Only one brother has been tried so far, but both of them conspired against Earl Robert. And his ally, Earl Bartholomew, your father, Lady Aliena. Philip took in all those refugees years ago because he was to blame for their fate, as he was for yours when you lost your father and your earldom. That, Lady Aliena, is the man you are trying to protect. Well?
No, perdona.
I know that he is a troubled man. We've all had to make hard decisions. Decisions that seemed right at the time, when indeed they were terrible mistakes. I am thankful that I was forgiven when I made a mistake. Now I forgive him. Let us now return to the problem at hand. There is a man who witnessed how Jonathan was found in the forest. A man who can shed light on who Jonathan's father really is.
And who is that?
My husband.
Step forward. What is your name?
He is the master builder of Kingsbridge.
Have you lost your courage?
No, I have not. You know well why it would be hard for me to face you. They call me Jack, after my father. My name is Jack Jackson.
Yes, we have met before.
How old were you when you allegedly saw Jonathan as a child in the woods?
12. But I know what I saw. Philip told the truth.
You were a child. And what were you doing there, in the woods?
I was living in the forest, with my mother.
They were outlaws.
Friar Remigius is the most trustworthy witness we've seen today, and his statement was quite damning to Philip. The distant memories of an outlawed child cannot convince me otherwise.
Asqueroso.
He fathered a child!
Let him go!
He would never do that!
And yet, Lady Aliena is right. We do not know enough to judge him as harshly as you proposed, Bishop Waileran.
You are right, Bishop Henry. As I said, it is not up to us to judge this man. Philip of Gwyneth has pleaded innocent, but how innocent is he? We ask God for his judgment. As Bishop of Kingsbridge and Shiring, I demand an ordeal by fire.
This is madness!
Philip of Gwyneth will be tried and judged at the stake. If he is innocent, God will save him from the flames. If he is not, then he will burn as the heretic and sinner God has declared him to be.
No!
No viene Ellen.
Waileran! Wayleran, by God! Not this time.
It's her.
I saw the child and Francis. I was there. Philip is not the child's father. He is a fool, but he is a good man.
Then, who is the father?
It is me.
They are all in this together. This woman is a witch and an outlaw, living in sin with a thief. He was hanged in Shiring 30 years ago.
He was not a thief. He was a good man. You've murdered him, Wayleran, by God.
What is this nonsense?
He was a thief. He stole a golden chalice and melted it down and sold it.
What chalice?
The chalice of the Eucharist. He stole it from the Cathedral of Kingsbridge.
Si eso fuera así,
Sacrilege.
enseñar el
Yes,
cáliz.
Prior James of Kingsbridge caught him red-handed.
Mostrar el cáliz. Ahí está.
Is that the chalice? You said it was melted down and sold.
Fall not for their lies. That could be any chalice. This does not prove a thing.
Where did you find this chalice?
In a secret chamber. We believe Prior James hid it because he felt guilty for falsely accusing Jack's father.
What proof do you have?
He told me. The night the cathedral burned down, I was there, I saw him.
Prior James died weeks before that.
No, he did not.
Bishop Henry, he speaks the truth.
Order! I will give you until sunset to produce a witness who can prove your accusations against Bishop Wayleran. Not just this chalice. If you fail to do this, I will make sure you are tried for defamation. Philip of Gwynedd, you will stay under arrest. The trial recommences at sunset.
We need a witness.
What are you doing there?
I've seen you draw up plans for a cathedral. Maybe we can do something similar to find our witness. Let's see. Your father.
He looks just like you.
My grandmother said he did.
And Bishop Wayleran. What are the connections? Maybe, by exploring them, we can find a witness.
Good idea.
Joder, este cambio no me lo esperaba para nada. Era un juglar, sus padres pensaban que había muerto en el barco blanco y luego fue ahorcado por el ladrón de ese. Si algo tiene que ver. Quiere ver arder a Philip, es responsable de tantas muertes, pero siempre se ha cuidado de no dejar pistas.
Bishop Wayleran is at the center of all this. Jack's father. If he was still with us, he could be our witness.
Maybe he still can. Mother says Wayleran was behind my father's death.
And she said he wasn't alone. There were 3 men responsible for your father's death. Bishop Wayleran, Percy Hamley, back then he was the Sheriff of Shiring, and Prior James of Kingsbridge.
If they were all there, then they were all witnesses.
And only Wayleran's still alive.
Hardly a coincidence. Why would these 3 men work together to falsely accuse your father?
Ayuda, padre.
He was on the White Ship. No one survived that night. No one lived to tell the story.
Yes. He was the sole survivor.
And then they killed him. But why? And what about the ship? William Hamley's father? Now, what about Prior James? Why would Whaler and Percy and James be concerned about the White Ship?
The son and heir of King Henry was on board. So were other possible heirs and other members of the royal household. I heard that Stephen was supposed to be on the ship as well, but became ill. He was the only male heir. The only threats were the king's daughter Maud and her half-brother Earl Robert, and they've been at war ever since.
And your father, Earl Bartholomew. He was a threat. He tried to stop Stephen and paid for that with his life. Maybe my father saw something on the White Ship. Proof that Stephen was involved.
What about the king?
If Stephen was responsible for the sinking of the White Ship, then he may have wanted the only witness of what really happened to disappear.
But he wouldn't have done it himself, of course.
No. My father wanted to go to England. He was the only one who made it when the White Ship sank. I wonder if my father ever learned why he was killed. James was the prior of Kingsbridge.
That's where they say your father stole the chalice, melted it and sold it.
But we know that's not true.
As we found it, Philip recognized the chalice.
But Bishop Henry wants a witness. The chalice isn't enough.
But it's an important lead for us.
Algo tiene el cáliz.
I think we're getting closer. So Whaler and the others claimed your father had stolen a chalice from Kingsbridge Cathedral, and that he sold it.
Yes.
We know that's not true, but we need a witness.
It's the only way to help Philip.
Estamos dando vueltas.
Philip said that Prior James was an honest man. So perhaps Whaler forced him to falsely accuse your father.
Maybe.
That might explain why James was guilt-ridden. The monks still tell the stories about how James thought the devil was after him.
Maybe Stephen never came up with the plan to hang your father.
You mean Whaler did it because he heard rumors and wanted to get closer to Stephen and Bishop Henry? Maybe.
Vaya rollo.
The chalice was the reason why your father was hanged in shiring. But Percy did not arrest him for stealing. That was Prior James, right?
Yes.
The chalice was used to kill the last survivor of the White Ship.
Yes.
Did he ever even see the chalice that they claim he stole? Perhaps not.
Stephen always claimed that it had been God's will that he was not on that ship. That he remained as the only male heir.
That wasn't God. I bet Stephen had a hand in the sinking of the ship.
Now imagine what would have happened if he had learned that someone survived. Someone who might have seen what really happened that night.
Whaler and Percy and James might have been working for those who sunk the White Ship.
A ver esto.
James claimed that your father had stolen the chalice and sold it. But instead, James himself hid it in Kingsbridge, in the crypt.
We found his scourge in a bed down there.
That secret chamber is important.
Hay algo más en la cámara secreta.
We're close.
Everyone thought Prior James was dead, that he broke into the ice. And now we know he was hidden away.
Why did his monks believe he was dead?
Sub-Prior Remigius told everyone he had found James' rosary by the river. So everyone thought the body had been washed away. They buried an empty casket.
But how is Remigius involved?
Philip told me that Remigius was there when Waleran made Philip prior. Waleran and Remigius knew each other.
That explains why Waleran later made Remigius prior of Shiring.
And Remigius recognized my mother when we arrived in Kingsbridge. He must have been there at the time my father was arrested. I think Remigius knows all about this.
Remigio lo sabe todo.
Is it possible that Waleran told Remigius to make Prior James disappear when James began to talk about what they'd done?
Remigio lo sabe todo.
When James started talking to the devil.
But for some reason, Remigius hid him away. But Waleran never knew.
Eso es.
Yes, that explains why he really didn't believe you. When you said you had seen James in the fire.
Where James died after all. And Remigius thought no one knew.
We have to find Remigius. He's our witness.
Let's hurry. It's getting dark already. The trial will continue soon.
People know you two. You shouldn't walk around shiring like that.
He's right.
I'll go look for him.
All right. Take care of yourself. And Jonathan.
Yes?
We will talk later about what was said today. About Tom.
All right.
Va pa sota el
Remigius.
Jonathan.
Now where are you?
Vale, chicos, disculpar si hubiese un cortecito, es que me estaban llamando por teléfono. Creo que vamos a tirar ya de un tirón, ¿eh? Vamos a ir, porque esto se está terminando, nos quedaría, estamos en este capítulo 6 de 7, o sea que nos queda este más otro, más el final. Y tengo muchas ganas de ver qué es lo que pasa. La catedral de la vieja escuela, muchos han venido por el juicio, para la mayoría es solo un espectáculo. El palacio de Waleran. Encontró que conocía a Waleran en bien en el que yo nací. No hay nadie, todos han ido a la catedral. Vale, yo estoy aquí, pira. Ya están montando la pira, debemos darnos prisa.
No one may approach the pyre.
Why not?
Bishop Henry's orders.
All right. Brothers?
What is it?
Have you seen the Prior of Shiring, Remigius?
We have not. And now step back, brother. We must be done by nightfall.
Vale. Este lo sabía todo. Y este mantuvo encerrado a James. Fíjate. Qué fuerte.
Have you seen Father Remigius, the Prior of Shiring?
He was here a moment ago.
Where's he now?
What do you want with him? Yeah, what do you want with him?
Oh, forget it. He was here.
En la casa grande, seguro que está en la casa grande.
Hello? No one's home.
Aquí entre medias puede ser que se haya venido.
They saw him. He can't have gone far. Hello? They're all gone. I don't see anyone here.
Catedral de San Juan, que lo mismo se ha metido dentro.
Everyone left for the trial, it seems.
Joder.
There is nobody there.
Por aquí abajo no se puede ir.